Leave the phone at a party, can't find the phone. I'm mad because I can't find the phone. So to get back for getting my phone stolen or not being able to find it, I steal somebody's car. Working there almost intimidated my vision for my barbershop.
Trying not to get emotional here, but you've given me a newfound confidence that I didn't think I could ever have. We're gonna be here all night.
My relationship with my dad was just fixed right there. And wasn't expecting this, bro. First shot was let off, really didn't think nothing of it. Just thought it was like, what they doing? Second one hit me. I start running. Other 5 so go off. I roll around in my mind wondering like, is that for me? How to do all this? Like, how long have you been doing this?
I just started January 31st. So, what, 3.5 months? Everyone's like, that's it? I did a lot of research before I started this, though.
Oh, I'm sure on
Because
podcasts and how people do it.
Obviously, I've never done podcasts, but I've seen crappy ones, and I didn't want to be one of them.
Right.
With crappy video and really distorted audio.
No.
People aren't going to listen to that.
No, because if you're going to do something, I'm a quality guy. I like, if I'm going to do it, that's probably it's a great thing I have, and it's a downside, because when I'm in something, I'm all in.
You're a perfectionist.
It's like, I'm all in.
Well, you have to be like that with what you do for your craft.
Yeah.
You have to be a perfectionist.
Oh, yeah, but sometimes it's like, you see the mountain of what you want, but you might not have resource for the mountain. Yeah. But then it's like, okay, well, what do I have? Oh, look, I got a room, and I got, so I've definitely been that guy that I will get to what I'm into. Just
got to keep climbing.
Just keep climbing. I got, man. Right? I'm going to use it.
Yeah, one step at a time.
I'm going to use it.
All right, brother. Any questions for me before we start?
What are we here for? What do you want to know?
You can't handle the truth. All right, let's roll. All right. Welcome to the Barbells and Bourbon podcast, the podcast that allows real people to tell real stories. I am your big, bald, bearded, barbell lifting, bourbon drinking son of a bitch, Shaun. And joining me today is the stylish and graceful Thru Scott.
Yo.
My man.
What's up, bro?
Welcome to our home.
Thank you for having me at your home. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while because I know you. I'd say we're bros, but absolutely. I don't know that much about you. Enough, to be able to carry a conversation, but
right.
You run deep, I'm sure. I'm sure you got some stories.
Yeah, we got stories, man. I got stories.
And that's what we're here for. Because you are a business owner.
Yeah.
I'd say a successful business owner. I see what you're doing. Yeah. I'm a client of yours, which we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, man.
But, you're killing it, man. Like, your shop is beautiful. You own Style and Grace in Monroeville. You walk in, and I've actually had people tell me that I know you. They'll say, I went to Style and Grace, and they walk in and they're like, it's beautiful. Because on the outside, not that it's not a nice place.
It doesn't look like much on the outside.
It's just your typical.
Right. But we're working on that.
Work in progress, just like anything else.
But no, people do come in and it's like, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
Based off of the outside.
Yeah.
Ain't that what we do with people, though?
Yeah. Yeah. Judge a book by its cover.
Oh, I didn't know he was deep.
Yeah. Right. But anyway, you can tell that you've put the work in. and
Thank
you have
you,
a
man.
beautiful business, and your clientele, they're pouring in. You got some guys working with you, and
Yeah, man.
you're doing your thing.
Yeah, great group of guys.
Yeah. But I want to know how you got to this point. So that's what we're here for, man. I want to hear your story. I want to know what molded you into the man you are sitting here right now. And we're going to kind of like go back and flash back to the past.
Yeah, man.
But first, where are you from?
Originally from McKeesport. That was my parents' struggle time. You know, they were doing real good at one point before I was born. Bought their first home in Monroeville. Dad had a hard time, had to move us out of, well, move my brother and sister out of a nice home in Monroeville to try to recalibrate in McKeesport. And that's where I started.
Where did the struggle come from? What happened?
I think he had a really good job, and then he got laid off. He was in pharmaceuticals. He got laid off. Believe he couldn't afford that home in Monroeville, but the best thing that he could be able to pick back up on was a little townhouse on Jenny Lynn Street in McKeesport. You know, and it's funny though, because my mom's an upstate New York girl. Mom's a doctor. Dad's a brain surgeon. So it was like, it's kind of a little
Yeah.
downslope. But my mom, she's great. She's so easygoing though. She goes with the flow.
Yeah.
And, you know, we did what we had to do. You know, my dad, he grinded. And it's funny though, because even then, I never felt like I was without. I wouldn't have known I was without anything. We weren't without anything.
Yeah.
You know, it was essentially a rough area, small home to raise 3 children in, but I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
I didn't know any different. I was well taken care of.
Yeah. So McKeesport, for those who aren't local to Pittsburgh, it's not
Killer
it's,
McKee.
it's not in the city limits, but it's definitely the city.
Yeah.
It has a city feel. Would you say it's rough?
It is rough.
It's rough.
McKeesport is rough.
Yeah.
Especially Jenny Lynn Street, you know, and all the areas around there. It was, again, like looking back at it, man, it's a rough area. I didn't associate it with rough growing up. I mean,
That's all
the
you knew,
streets
kinda.
were made out of like bricks that you
Yeah.
build a house with, you know, and our yard was a yard in front of it that was gravel, and it held I think a girl's home called the Whale's Tail, and we played in that dirty gravel unused parking lot.
Wow.
You know, like me and my brother used to ride our bikes and joust or act like we were jousting on bikes in that yard. You know, that's what we did.
So it was not a rough childhood as far as your upbringing, but it was rough surroundings.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, I would say it appeared rough, but not like, oh, you know, my parents were on drugs or didn't have any money or, you know, we couldn't eat. No, we didn't. This was a little come up move for my dad. This was the best place that he could afford at the time. And that's where I got a lot of memories at.
So inside the home, things were healthy.
Things were very healthy.
Close family.
Very close. My dad raised us in the church. You know, that was one thing that he was very committed to. His upbringing was rough. He is one of 4 brothers, one of 5 brothers. Dad left them when he was growing up in Northview Heights, another rough part of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And he just vowed that that was something that he would never do. You know, was leave his kids,
Yeah.
and he was just committed that, you know, I'm gonna stay married. I'm going to raise my kids in the faith.
Is
And
it all in?
yeah, man, was all in. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about my dad.
Good.
You know, he's just a stand-up man, faithful, committed, loving, just always been there.
Are your parents still living?
Still living, still together.
Awesome.
You know,
Where are they living now?
they're living in Penn Hills, the house that they were able to bounce back and buy, you know, after McKeesport.
Good for them.
You know, now they're empty nesters and trying to fix all the holes that we made. That's what they're doing now.
What did you do to them?
Fix all the mess that we made in the house, so they can. Actually, they're really trying to make it real nice for the grandkids because between my brother and my sister and myself, I have 3 kids. My brother has 3 kids. My sister has 3 kids. So we have 9 grandbabies all together. So that's their mission now. They're just trying to fix up the house for the grandkids.
Spoil the grandkids.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So what was school like for you? I know you grew up in a rough area. Was that McKeesport School District?
Started out in McKeesport, but that really wasn't rough. It really didn't get rough for me in school till I moved to the suburbs.
Really?
It was weird. Till I moved to Penn Hills.
Elaborate.
Yeah. I feel like what was acceptable in McKeesport was just not acceptable in Penn Hills.
Behavior-wise?
Clothes.
Oh, got it.
How you looked at the time.
Like the culture was different.
Early 90s, this was like, I used to school shop. I don't know if everybody remembers Ames.
Oh, yeah. Hills, Ames.
Yeah, Hills and Ames.
Yeah.
We school shop there. I'd have a Bugs Bunny shirt on and some Shaq shoes.
Yeah, me too,
Nobody said anything. No, not in Penn Hills.
My parents didn't have a ton of money either, so we were shopping at Kmart, Ames, and Hills.
But the thing is, I don't even think it was the matter of the money that we shopped these places. It
was the simplicity
of
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are the stores that have clothes for kids. And the attitude is definitely different in the suburbs, or at least in Penn Hills, because I think what was happening was Penn Hills was bringing in a lot of Wilkinsburg, East Hills, Homewood, especially at that time. Penn Hills was like the hot spot to move in 98, 99, 2000. That was like the big talk. Oh, Penn Hills, Penn Hills. So that's where everybody was trying to move to.
So you said it was kind of rough.
Yeah, I think socially a lot different. I think that status was built more around how you dressed, where you were from. I think one of the things that I can remember dealing with was a mindset where people wanted to not associate with being from the suburbs, or you wanted to associate with not being from a suburb. I'm from a hood, and I think that was a newer mindset that hit me, that was a big deal of, wanting to have this appeal that you're not soft and from this area. I'm from this area. And so that suddenly became a pressure to wonder so what's wrong with accepting a Penn Hills association, or upbringing,
Did you feel yourself changing who you were to be accepted?
100%. I mean, like we were talking before, anything I'm into, I go 100%. And so I wanted to gangbang. Oh man, I wanted to be the part. That was what it seemed to me that the girls were attracted to.
The bad boys.
It just seemed like that attitude of being hood was what was attractive, and that's what made friends. That's what was appealing. That was the look. That was the music. That was the culture.
Yeah.
Early 2000s music, you just had to be a part of that, and that's, you didn't have to, but to be accepted in the larger groups, if you wanted that, then that's kind of what you needed to mold into.
So you shifted your culture.
Oh man.
And you said you had a pretty stable upbringing. How did your parents handle this change in Drew?
So I think it was more of a silent struggle, I would say. I think that I brought this struggle with me to school, but kind of left it there, I'd say, until about the 7th grade. Mm-hmm. Until it really started becoming, I think the more you attach yourself to things, the more you're going to, or the more you drive in those directions, the more it's going to become, and you can't hide it. Yeah. But again, I didn't really have the best upbringing with communication and feeling like talking about the things that I struggled with were acceptable, or like I could be helped with that, or that was even something to do, talk about those things, about how I'm feeling about the pressures I'm dealing with at school. So I think that just wanting to do it and just, kind of living it secretly from my parents was just what that was the habit.
It was the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you probably didn't want to worry them either.
I don't think it really wasn't about wanting to worry them. I think it was about, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want that to be interfered with.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was like this care that, I don't want them to worry. It's just like, well, this is what I want to do. And in order to do it, I think that I think, again, that communication part, I didn't feel like that was even something I could bring up as something that needed to be, or could have been talked about,
Yeah.
or like I was going to get any other answer, but no, this is unacceptable. Just assuming that these were the answers because of how I was brought up.
Sure.
Assuming that me talking about these things or even having interest in these things were going to be stiff-armed. No, this is how you are. And who's to say how it would have been approached? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it. I just let them find out
Yeah.
through being in trouble from doing these things.
So yeah, what kind of trouble did you get in?
Oh, man. So I think the first bit of trouble, big trouble, would have been, if I could remember, what was the first big trouble? Any trouble or just big trouble?
The first thing that stands out.
First thing that stands out.
Have you been arrested?
Oh, man, have I?
Okay.
Have I? First thing I got arrested for. Okay. First thing.
How old were you?
I'm going to say 14,
Okay.
14, 15. Me and a friend, Dunham's used to sell these BB guns. They look like 45s, CO2. We steal them. This stuff was easier to steal. Took them out the package. We got them. We're super excited. We don't really think flashing BB guns in the open was going to be a problem. So we're just kind of flashing it as we're walking to the bus stop. I guess I flashed it next to a bank window. I didn't really realize, like, walking down
surroundings,
these little
yeah.
down steps, like there was open bank windows, and think twice about it. But while we were waiting for the bus, the police come up. I'm feeling nervous because I'm just thinking, like, okay, they're coming up to me because we have guns. It wasn't even like I'm thinking it was just a BB gun. They're like, hey, you guys come here. All I could think of is just take off running. Just start running, back, early 90s, early 2000s, pants were 10 times too big. I'm running, pants falling down. They just tackle me. And they get the gun, and they're like, man, we could have shot you, man. This looks real. And I'm super nervous, and I'm just like, I didn't know what else to do. I'm just...
You're 14.
They're approaching me about a possible weapon.
Sure.
I just felt run.
Yeah.
And just I got a slap on the wrist, community service at that point. But that was like, I wasn't trying to really do anything
Sure.
bad with it. I just felt like,
And then that's a slap on the wrist. You do that today?
oh my gosh. It's crazy because when I look back just at that little thing and my things get pretty big about, this was just, you just said what was the first thing little trouble I got in.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I could have definitely been, especially in today's climate, just
could have
just
got shot.
knowing, oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that it was nothing but the grace of God just on my life, because I could have easily went bad for thousands of other people in the world. You hear about a gun call, 2 young black men, you take off running. Okay, obviously there's a gun involved,
Yeah.
and so just a blessing that I was treated with that kind of grace.
So what happens next?
But
So you're 14 and first arrest of 14.
14, I think that with the culture, the music, the influence. I got an older brother. He's 3 years older than me. His friend group was older. My brother had different freedoms than I had. He started smoking weed at an age of 16, 17, between that time. I actually used to think he was pretty stupid for it until I started seeing him come around with it more, and I'm just like, man, let me try. That was it. Once we got that rolling, it was funny though, because I tell him one time, like, all right, I'm going to try. I used to clown him, like, man, you're stupid spending your money on that. You're stupid. And then I actually say, yeah, well, let me try. And then he comes home one day. I give him my $10. I think my grandma gave me some money. Give him my $10. He brings me home something, rolls it up, and I'm smoking. I'm asking him what to do. And I'm like, what do you do? What is... And he's like, oh, see, that ain't even the real stuff. That's just oregano. I just wanted to see if you would do it. I'm like, yeah, man, where's my stuff? I'm going to get it for you tomorrow. And then, just to wrap that up, though, I think that once I started getting high, this was in like the 7th grade, school just became about fun, showing up fresh. That's what me and my friends cared about. Fresh, everything was funny, getting high before school. So it 7th grade was it. It just, everything.
So before we go past 7th grade, you mentioned the word influence.
Yeah.
I know friends can greatly influence a kid. You also mentioned this was the time of different music and just the culture around that music. And looking back, do you think the culture influenced you more than your friends? Vice versa, a little bit of both?
I think it's a mix.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the two can be separated, because I think the culture of the music, the culture of the time, it's a bundled deal.
Was this early 2000s?
Early 2000s, yeah.
Okay.
So,
so Dre, Snoop.
Not even
No.
Drake. Drake was
No,
still
Dre.
doing. I thought you said Drake.
No.
I'm like, no, he was still doing
No.
the Grassy, I think.
No, I'm old, man.
Nah, it was definitely Dre. It was a lot of, in my house, we were big Hot Boys fans. Lil Wayne, BG, No Limit, Soulja Slim. We were we were in it like Hood, Project Pat. That was our flavor.
Okay.
And then, oh man, 06, when Young Jeezy came out, turned Pittsburgh upside down. Everybody wanted to be the Snowman.
Yeah.
You seen Snowman riding around everywhere. I know you remember him.
Yeah.
Snowman chains and shirts. Stop snitching shirts. That was that time.
So you wanted to live that life.
Oh, yeah. I think it was easy, especially with the group of friends. I mean, it was an easy life to live.
Yeah.
It attracted a lot of people.
Sure.
Big friend groups.
So what happens next, man? I mean, you start getting high. School's a joke.
Yeah.
Did you graduate?
Nah, man.
You didn't?
Nah, I made it to about the 10th grade. I spent a number of summers doing summer school. And I want to say, so the 10th grade, once I made it to the 10th grade, that was when Nextels were hot. And, oh man, I think, so this is where things really spiraled. Had a Nextel, had the I-930, it was like the hottest Nextel at the time. USD card, screen on the front, Project Pat ringtone. Can't tell me nothing. Go to a party. Actually, a party that I shouldn't have been at because I had a big fight with my parents before. Leave the phone at a party, can't find the phone. I'm mad because I can't find the phone. So to get getting my phone stolen or not being able to find it, I steal somebody's car.
Makes sense.
Somebody's car has the key in it. I say, this is me. Got a car. I'm washing the car and cleaning it out like it's my car. I'm treating the stolen car good.
All because you lost your phone.
Lost my phone. Pick up friends in the car. Get in a high-speed chase in the car. Riding down, what street is that goes to the zoo? I'm just taking the police just straight. What is that road? I don't
Is that
even
Washington
know.
Boulevard?
Might be Washington Boulevard, just running.
Yeah.
Stop signs. Car couldn't have been going that fast. I think it was like a
What kind of car was it?
Isuzu.
So you didn't steal a Lambo.
No, it was just there. Some little gray car was there with a key in it.
And now it's yours.
And it's mine, and I'm high speed running from the police. Crash out by the zoo. Airbags deploy. Get out. The leaves are as dead as they are on the trees now. So they can see me in the woods from the street, running in the woods. Till I'm so high from earlier in the day and from weird feeling from all that that airbag
From the airbag
deployed
fumes
stuff.
and powder and yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this.
So
man.
you're
I stop
delirious,
on a
and-
tree. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I tell him I'm done. Tell the cops I'm done. He looks around, still tases me a few times. Tases me. I'm on my knees. He's still tasing me. And that's for running. Punches me. Yeah.
What's it feel like to be tased?
Oh, man. Like everything in you butt clenching. If I had to poop, it would have been over. Poop would have been everywhere. Yeah, it's just everything. It just, I guess it depends on what voltage they have. It was
Yeah.
pretty high.
So it's like paralyzing.
Yeah. Oh, it stops you. It should stop you. If they get you, I didn't even have all the prongs in me either. I didn't even have them all in me. There was one that was stuck in me. They were looking for the other one. I don't even think they all hit me, and it's still locked on. It locks on pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you something.
Yeah, man.
So you gave up.
Oh,
You
yeah.
surrendered.
Gave up.
And you still got tased and punched.
Yeah, man. That's gonna happen.
Do you feel like you deserved it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If I was a cop, I'd probably do it. I'd probably do that.
Probably would too.
Got me running through these woods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or get something out of this.
Yeah. Because he's pissed. He's pissed too.
Yeah.
You were pissed because you lost your
Well,
phone.
you're bigger. You're creating. They don't know how old you are. First of all, at this point,
Sure.
causing harm to the community, crashing stolen vehicles in the middle of a busy intersection. Now you're running and you're making me run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get punched
Okay.
and tased.
Fair. What happened?
Luckily, I didn't get shot. That could have happened too.
That's true. What was your punishment, man?
That got me my first juvenile sentence. So of course, they took me to Schumann. That's whenever Schumann was open.
Still open, yeah.
But I think it closed. It might be reopened again. Took me to Schumann, got out, go to court, get sentenced to a after school program that's still called it's the Academy. I think it's in Butler. But you just go home, you go to school, and you just go there after school. You do that, you're done. You're good. I meet some more people.
Not good
I
people.
meet some more people in this program because now you got young criminals from the hood. And this guy, I don't even know where the attraction was. I mean, I feel like this guy kind of picked me to be his friend. I don't even know, big, strong guy. And he has this idea to have me come over his house. Wasn't even supposed to be going over there. He knows a girl that I know from Penn Hills that he's dating. And we are drinking some Seagram's gin And this guy, again, he's a young guy. His mom, like their relationship, again, with certain people, with their parents, child relationship is a lot looser than mine, which I think is great. Because his mom don't care if he's drinking. He's
Because
a
she's there at least.
16, 17-year-old kid. We're just guzzling Seagram's gin. And I'm kind of not really wanting to drink that much, but, in order to be approved by this guy,
Yeah.
I'm taking shots.
Doing what it takes.
Well, this guy has a grand idea that his girlfriend is willing to let us rob her parents. There's a safe in my parents' house. You guys can rob it. We'll all be good. So I sneak out with them, catch a cab to go rob this guy's girlfriend's parents' house. Safe, there's probably about all of $2,000 in there, some passports. I mean, that was a scene. We just kind of wrecked. I mean, the stuff you do as a kid, man. Wrecked this poor girl's parents' bedroom, nice house. It's a shame because this dude, he's 17, brolic. He just bust the door down with his arm. Go in there, find a safe, rip it out the floor. All about $2,000 in there, stealing stereo systems and DVDs and bullcrap, messing up these people's houses. Well, she gets caught, tells on us. They come, collect it all. Now I gotta go do the stay the night academy version. So that was a 5 to 8 month situation. Meet some more people up there.
Do you think so? You keep getting into more trouble when you're trying to get helped because of who's in there with you. Do you think they consider?
Am I trying to get help at this?
No. Look, so you probably didn't want to be helped, right?
I think that whenever anybody gets in trouble, the initial response is, "Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll do what I need to do.
I want to get better."
Yeah.
But do you want to get better, or is it because you got caught with the stuff?
Yeah. So you're meeting these bad influences.
Yeah. And I do think that, knowing me, I definitely had a heart to want to do better. Definitely wasn't just like, I'm just out here just wanting to go fully against the grain of how my parents want me to become, what they want me to become, So it wasn't that. I just think that just that word influence, it just pulls you. It pulls you in a direction of, again, what you really want, and I think there was a lot of provision for that, in those seasons of my life, and I think that I, even now, still have to shut this voice down of not good enough, not good enough. And I was always something. I was always there, through every season of life was not good enough, So I think whenever you have that in your mind, then what this voice is going to make you or cause you to do things that will give you a false sense of what good enough is, and to leave you to make that determination by what these people think is good enough.
So you just kept going to more extremes, hoping to fulfill that you're good enough.
Of a voice that, nobody told me that.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody, tell me that, so then there's that. Where does that come from?
I want to ask you a question, then I want to get back to your continued arrests. You mentioned that you grew up in a house of faith. Where is that during this whole thing? Is that in the back of your head?
It's crazy, but it's beautiful because it's powerful, because it's really always there. Yeah, it really is, because there is this knowing of something better. But I just think as a kid, sometimes, I'm not going to say all the time, But I think a lot of times for a kid, what you don't understand is hard for you to embrace for you, you know?
Yeah.
And I think what's not presented a lot of times in certain ways just doesn't make it a real thing for you. Like I think it's there and you know that it's good, but I think that there's a thought that this is just what my parents want,
Yep.
you know. But I did always think that there was a power in it, but just not so much so that it's going to influence me to not do what I want to do.
And I want to follow that up with, just because you're a man or woman of God and you have certain faith doesn't mean you don't mess up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't.
Oh
I
my
just want to
goodness.
clarify that.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes, regardless of your faith.
100%.
But
100%.
but for you, it didn't have a purpose yet. It was there because that was how you grew up. But it wasn't tangible for you yet.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what's crazy? There was a time that I want to say, I think before the juvenile placement, that I really did. You know, I went to that altar and I asked God into my life. And there actually was a time I was like fully into it as a teenager. And I was just walking that line, you know, and I really believed like I was connected to Christ with a growing and building relationship. And I remember a time where my father was just, you know, he was excited about that and he was just trying to give me advice regarding how I keep my friends with this new walk. And I was kind of blowing that off, like, I can still, you know, do this and, you know, all these friendships. And he was like, all right, you know, and he was trying to be gracious with it. But there was a time that, you know, one of my good friends, he still smoked, but he actually respected that I didn't offer me anything, but me being around him, I just remember this one vivid time that he was smoking. He said he was smoking. He didn't expect me to smoke, but I then remember saying, let me hit that. And when I smoked that one time, not one more time, I remember feeling so bad about myself walking up the street, and I literally told myself, I said, I guess I'm not saved anymore. That was something that I vividly remember. And my thought process was, it took this big thing for me to get to the altar and ask the Lord in my life. So I think I'm going to have to wait for that to happen again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go stupid hard in this direction of crazy. And then hopefully that crazy experience, I think, that people look for, of something that you need to feel where God calls you and draws you in, happens again.
You're waiting for that.
I was waiting
for that
so
defining
maybe
moment
that'll
again.
happen again, you know? And so I'm like, but I guess I say that to say I've always been I'm on one side or the other type of person, you know? And I feel, and going back to what I was saying, that I always feel like God was there, was I felt like I was like, I still believe you. However, you know, until you kind of bring me back some way, somehow, like I'm going in this direction, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird, but
I wouldn't say weird, but yeah, I mean, I get it. Now that you talk
know,
about it,
like
I kind of get it.
I don't not believe you.
Yeah.
It's just really what I don't believe about myself, what I don't understand about a relationship with you, you know, and coming up with having my own ideology about what's acceptable to God. Again, that's not good enough. I hit the ticket. No.
So without me asking how many more times you got arrested, because that's not important, what was that breaking point of you just got into so much trouble you had to make a change?
So I had you know, in all this time, you know, but from the time I'm talking about, there was, you know, I went upstate. You know, there was a whole section, you know, where things, you know, selling drugs, robbing, doing a lot of things. had a particular group of friends that I did things with that I really saw as my brothers. That's how I looked at it. You know, did a lot of dumb things in the name of building these friendships. You know, that was a motivation. You know, I'm gonna put myself out here and do this, hoping that this builds a reputation that's acceptable enough with this group that will build us closer. You know, it was a number. The details don't even matter, but it was some nutty stuff. You know, and I fully lived up to the image that I wanted to live. You know, and the things that I did in the name of bonding, when that went south, I think that was it. It wasn't jail that changed me. I think that I had such a high expectation for friendships and connection with these guys that when that went south, like they tried to kill me. Yeah, yeah. But I called my best friends shot me. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, yeah.
How? What led up to that?
Yeah, man. You know, I did a lot of robbing. Like, you know, a lot of times I had guns. You know, I liked to make sure, you know, like to skip into from doing subtle things into some more serious things. You know, I made sure I always had a gun. You know, and things that I was doing, I felt like I'm not the one that's going to get robbed. Like, I'm doing the robbing. Yeah. I'm not getting robbed. Felt very strongly about that. I always got toast.
You convinced yourself.
Always. Like, I feel like I'm on point, so much so.
You're the man.
This is not happening. So, and there were times where I was ready to shoot somebody, wanted to shoot somebody. Thank God that it never had to happen. But I felt like because that never happened, I never really would have thought that karma, so to say, would come back around in a way that I would be getting shot because I didn't do any shooting. I just did the robbing. Yeah. But I think that when you sow evil, there's no. You don't get to pick or decide how bad comes back to you in what form.
Evil doesn't discriminate.
No, you're going to get what you put in. You know, whether that's deceit, hurt, pain for other people, you're going to get that back. You know, deception and betrayal, you know, and that comes back. You know, and I did all those things. You know, even probably surprisingly to people that probably thought I was cool with them. You know, to put them in some bad situations, you know, and I think that there was a particular situation where words were said to a specific friend in a way that I think that he knew where me and the rest of my friends were as far as what we would do. He knew he couldn't approach us the same way as he could whenever we were growing up, and I don't think he liked that. So he told his approach to get back at me was to tell some other friends of mine that he's going to take y'all guns and shoot y'all with it. And he was, you know, dudes from home with homies. He's going to do that. And I think the way that I was acting at the time really wasn't too convincing that I wouldn't do something like that. Just, you know, I'm popping X 10 times a day. I mean, just on 24 hours. And so sometimes whenever you have that in your system, you know, you can be kind of staring, you know, not really knowing, you know, you're staring in people's direction. And there was a time with, you know, the first friend that shot me. must have looked at that as the confirmation as to what somebody else told him. So, I was lured away into some woods with this idea that we were robbing somebody, and first shot was let off, and I didn't think nothing of it. Just thought it was like, what they doing? Second one hit me. I start running. Other 5 go off. I roll around, in my mind wondering, like, is that for me? Like, I'm so confused right now. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Make somebody that I found in East Hills take me to the hospital. And, this was a start of that wake up moment. I'm like, yo, what is going on here? I had about an 8-ball of crack in my coat pocket. I'm trying to stuff it out because you get shot. Police come to the scene or the hospital, wherever you're at, checking on things and making sure that the crack that was in there was tucked away somewhere. I grabbed my coat, and I got all 6 of those bullet holes in the back of my coat. Like, and that's a big part of my testimony. I wish I had brought that, but I still, for reasons of testimony, I show those holes. I show those sprouts all coming through the back of my coat. And that was a moment that really blew my mind because I couldn't wrap my mind around how, Like, I'm like literally all in the organs, severe organs, of my body. These sprouts were, coming through, and but one of them hit my arm, so that's why I was in the hospital. And it was weird because there wasn't a hole in the arm. I don't know where that came from, how that happened. I don't understand.
She got shot at 6 times.
6 times.
And only got hit once.
Once.
But you had
and
6
every
holes
last
in
one
your
of the
jacket.
bullets was in the jacket. Every last one of them.
What?
Every last one of them. And, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I just kind of paused that one there. And I get home, call another friend that I was with the night that happened. He's kind of confused as to what happened. This was when MySpace was a thing. And I get a message the next day from him. Hey, what's this I hear? You going to take boys' guns and shoot them with it? And then I'm like, okay, I know the conversation that took place where somebody took some things that I said and twisted them. And I knew who was behind it. And I find myself trying to clean that up. He don't buy it. He starts busting. Get grazed in the back of my leg. I got my sister's car. Shouldn't have had her car. She was out of town somewhere. Took her car. Her car got bullet holes in the side of it. Police come. See, here's the thing, man. People give police a bad rep though, but these police this time, they literally helped me. I don't got a license. Tell them I got shot at. Of course, I didn't tell them who. But I'm like, I don't got no license. Didn't explain the situation. I'm like, I ran in the woods. I lost my sister's key. Y'all help me find it. They literally helped me, and they helped me find my sister's key to a car that I shouldn't be driving with no license. Help me find the key. They're like, just come to the station. We'll get you taped up. They're like, just go home. I go to this girlfriend's house that I had at the time in Homewood. She's giving me earful. At this time, there's so much that I'm fed up with. Drive back to my parents' house. I'm sitting in the backyard, moonlit night. And I just cry out to God and just say, I don't really know. I don't want this. I don't want this no more. It was the moment that the world that I was chasing came crashing in. And a lot of what that world was my friends. So it just, there was nothing to chase. And I was just kind of, to me, that was my end. But it was crazy that through that prayer, though, like, I go inside. My dad comes downstairs, upstairs somewhere. I was in the house telling me I need to leave. is he didn't understand the situation. All he seen was bullet holes in my sister's car. And I'm like huffing and puffing at my dad, telling him, you're going to have to call the police. I'm not leaving. It breaks my heart. To this day, my dad said he thought I was going to kill him. He said the way that I was acting in that moment. And I just remember I was in such a crazy situation with friends and what was occurring. For him to say that, it was like a betrayal to me, that you see I'm in this crazy situation, you're trying to put me out. I can't even trust nobody to go get a gun. I don't have a gun.
Yeah.
I don't even know who to talk to because I'm not even sure who to trust. And you're telling me I gotta leave. So it was just like, nah.
You felt like you had no one on your
Yeah,
side
man.
anymore.
Yeah.
Your friends betrayed you.
Oh man.
Now your own father is telling you to get out.
And I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
You know, because he didn't understand the situation. All he seen was bullet holes in his daughter's car. And he's just like, I've given you the room, to do what you do. However, you're bringing this to the house that I'm called to protect.
Yeah. That would be
is
scary
like
as a parent.
Yeah, like that's a no-go. I'm like 17, 18 at the time. No, I might have been 19 at this time because I still had a drug case that I was out on bail for. And my world came crashing down on me in the time of this time out on bail. And I went to bed that night, still in the house, and I just felt the need to just go to church that next day. I made my brother take me to church. And I felt like I was just waiting. I didn't hear what the message was. I was just waiting for them to call somebody up for prayer. It's just like, I don't even know. I was high. Just like, I just got to get up there. And I walked up to the front and I just got on my knees and I just was crying to God. Like there was like these little, kneel things to kneel on or whatever. I don't know. I just got down there and was just crying. Really was just praying. I don't even know what I went up there to do. But I went up there and I was just on my knees. I was just crying, asking God to just take this away. I look back, my dad's there hugging me. And I just felt like this. Just stuff changed, man. It was just a change.
Thank God. It's beautiful, man. That was that second moment you were waiting for, right? To be able to have the opportunity to confess and get healed, right? Take your time, man.
Ooh, sorry, bro.
Don't you dare apologize. So where's your life go from there? That was probably the best day of your life at that point.
Because that was just, and it just took me back to a lot. Because that was a real turning point. It was just like, because things just started changing rapidly. Because I know that God knew that was a real change.
Yeah.
In this, my relationship with my dad was just fixed right there. And whew, wasn't expecting this, bro. Because there was a lot, man. There was a lot in this gap from 15 to 19 that, you know, we bunched in, but a lot got fixed, you know, in a moment, you know, and I knew my life was changed. Now, you know, I still had to serve that time, you know, for the drugs I got caught with. And I was hoping that with this life change that, you know, I would, you know, get some grace and, you know, I could somehow be wiped away. But it was really the best thing that could happen because it was just time that I had alone with God, man. It was just, I needed that. I needed to, you know, just to walk on my own, you know, without any other type of influence. It was just me and God, man. So, you know, my relationship with God isn't one that's like just based off of any groups of people or really any church. You know, it was a real
Relationship.
real encounter.
Yeah.
You know, that gave me space to really learn what that is. You know, and it was raw. You know, it was raw. You know, I just spent my days reading and learning in those environments where I can apply these things. And there's so many opportunities, just even in prison, to just apply some real time principles scripturally in that environment, which gave me a good foundation when I got out, you know, and that is a big part of of why I am where I am today. You know, it just took me from just one place of promotion to the next, you know, to the next, you know, from my steps, you know, getting out, just having my mind. I didn't have a typical 20s, you know, when my mind was made up, like I was done, you know, I was done. I felt like I did what people do in their 20s between the age of 16 and 19, you know. I was in the bars, you know, I was in clubs, I was doing all that, you know, already,
Yeah.
you know, illegally,
Yeah.
you know, and at this point, I mean, and it wasn't even because there was like this exhaustion with that. It was an exhaustion with the choices that I was making and what I saw, the fruit that I saw from that. And I had a taste of something new and different that gave me no reason to turn back.
Yeah.
So my focus was just, you know, this is my life and this is the direction that I'm going in. And God was just with me every step of that, of the way, with, you know, making the decision to go to barber school. You know, just giving me wisdom as to, you know, what I need to do there. Wisdom to not be thinking about being in certain relationships with girls, and which, you know, when the right time came, I met my wife through barber school, you know, which is one of the greatest things that happened to me. You know, it was just like God was prepping somebody through their own things to meet me at where I was at, you know, and, you know, our story creates the barbershop. It creates the home we live in. It creates the children that we have. It creates the friends that we have. You know, it just creates this whole journey, this whole business friend, you know, because she was, you know, I probably wouldn't even have met you. She was going to Grace Life, like in the bare bones of Grace Life.
Yeah.
You know, and just the place that I was at where, you know, where my life changed. Just, I didn't feel like it was just the best place for her and I as a young married couple. And Grace Life was just a nice, fresh start.
Yeah.
for us at that time.
Yeah, so that's how we met. I know
Yeah.
we didn't talk about that yet, but we met at a church.
Yeah. And not even I don't even think super formally either.
No, and you caught my eye. You good looking dude. You got some big arms. And I'm just like, what's his story? Yeah, and we just started chatting, right? Yeah, nothing formal. But again, I was there. I was new at that church. It was a new church. I felt like I was home when I was there.
Yeah.
I'm not there anymore. I don't want to get into that, but I remember Pastor Buck. I'll never forget this. He mentioned you during one of the services about, I guess you posted a picture of your back. You were doing a flex.
Oh my God.
Like a rear double bi or something.
Something.
And he brought up how big and ripped your back was during a service. I was just like, yeah.
That was the height of me juicing. That's a whole nother downside, dark side in my good years.
It's just crazy.
Oh man.
I do want to kind of wrap up this topic.
Yeah.
Not the episode, but this is another perfect example of how you can't judge someone by their appearance or by what you think their story is. Like, bro, I didn't know 0.5% of what brought you here.
Man.
There were some major defining moments that brought you here.
100%.
A lot of them were bad, but you're here now.
Yeah.
So if those bad things didn't happen, you might not have been saved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, man. I wouldn't change it, man. Wouldn't change it.
And for you to say that, for most people, would sound insane. Like, why would you not want to change all of those horrible things?
No.
But I get it. I get why you don't want to change it, because you might not have been healed.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that doesn't happen by altering that story. I think that your steps are ordered, man. And your story is your story, and I think that with what we all have and what we come from is such a design to bring change to so many other people, because that stuff's not going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you wanted the change. That's the key here. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Like my last guest, Harvey, he has his own men's health business where he helps troubled men. And he said there's a lot of guys that just don't want help.
Yeah.
And you just can't help them.
Yeah. Yeah, no. You have to want it.
Mm-hmm. You could drop an addict off the front door at a rehab center. They choose to walk in or just walk the other way.
I think that in some cases, I don't think people know what help there is to get, though. I think that, do people not want help, or are they? Because I think that I was at a time where I would say that I didn't want help. I think I wanted help. I think deep down, I wanted some help. Now, I think that in the saying that, you have to want help in order to be changed, and but I do think that deep down there's a cry. There's a cry out. I just think that what we associate that with is the trouble, and I think that there's a time that certain things just need to be presented to people. Everybody's got their own time and their own ripening moment where just the right information and the right presentation of information is for them, and I think relationships are a big deal in people's change, and I can rat off just key names in my life of key players that, because of those relationships, helped the decision to change. because of what they shown me as far as love and acceptance in the times when I was doing what I wanted to do and didn't just, keep pounding me with stuff that I didn't want to hear, at least that I think I didn't want to hear, and they just were there, and they were resources for whenever I was ready. They were great sources to be around.
Have you thanked them before?
Oh yeah. Oh man,
You
absolutely.
want to call out some names?
Oh man, John Rito. He's been there. Rick Harrell. Y'all been there from the start. Never changed. Shaun. You've been there. And y'all are huge, huge players of change in my life. I'll never forget them. I talk about y'all all the time. I'll always love y'all. Yeah, man.
I'm sure they
Huge
love hearing
players,
that.
Man. Huge players.
Good, man.
Yeah, man. Just they saw where I was at, accepted it, wrapped their arms around me.
That's
Yeah,
a
man.
true friends right there,
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
This has been calling me because I know my lips probably look like powdered donuts.
Powdered donuts. I got some. You want some aminos?
Put them in.
Kind of hydrate.
Is that Project What?
It is, as a matter of fact.
Is that Project What?
This is a amino evolution. Yeah, they sent me a bunch of goodies that I can share with my guests that don't want to drink alcohol. And you told me beforehand that you rarely drink and you prefer not to, which is perfectly acceptable. It's not a requirement.
I feel like this is like such a better choice. I mean,
It's a healthier choice.
man, look at
Yeah, it's a healthier choice.
we get to represent.
Not that there's anything wrong with sipping on some bourbon every
man,
once in a while.
to each his own. Look at you. You got the mixer.
So
I have one of these for my coffee. It's a frother.
it is well, yeah.
This froth is milk.
It does froth.
I don't even know how to make that plural.
My guest, a couple guests ago, Jen Mascaro, she's a real estate agent. She asked if I froth my bourbon with this. It's like,
It frothed it.
I think
it
you're onto
frothed this.
something. Cheers, bro.
It's fire.
Delicious.
That's fire.
I want to talk about fitness real quick because you brought up juicing.
I've always wanted to look a certain way. I kind of was a chubbier kid, and then riding bikes all around Penn Hills kind of shedded that. But I wanted to have a nice build.
Yeah.
And I was active, but it wasn't till I got home. There was a good friend of mine, Daryl Pinkett, 50, name rings bells, and known him pretty much all my life. Awesome dude, and he introduced me to the gym.
Yeah.
Him and my man Big Steve. I used to look over at them lifting 315 like it was paper. I'm like, I gotta do that. I have to do that. And I just, started, taking everything at GNC.
Yeah.
And then I got influenced by a particular group of people, and just wanted to put some jet fuel into it, man.
Yeah.
And I just thought that at that time that was the best way to do it. I felt like it was better than taking a bunch of stuff that I didn't know what was in it. Sure. Let's just get it let's get right to it.
Right into the veins.
Playing around with this, going and messing around with deer antler sprays and what is that? I don't know. Just so whenever there was a particular person that broke things down a certain way, it just was like, oh yeah, all right. Start with some orals,
One thing leads to another.
Things leads to the next. You might as well shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I met you at Grace Life, You were big.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Felt good. Felt good.
Yeah.
And I got to keep some of it.
You got some big arms on
I
you,
got to
man.
keep some
I
of
know.
it.
I know you can't see it through that sweatshirt, but
No, but that was another. I was, again, that was another point. Even in, I would say my good years, that I was still, making some questionable decisions, and definitely not the best ones, for me to be making. And I had another repentant moment, in my life where it's just like, you know what, I'm taking things way too far, way out of hand, way out of perspective from my life, and it's just like, all right, let's start over, let's start fresh here, because again, I get into stuff, man, and I wanted to be all about it, it was just like, all right, cool,
yeah.
I'm in it, let's do it, taking this.
Might as
Not
well add
Project
that.
One. Y'all stuff is dope. But I'm just over here buying all this stuff, buying test boosters from GNC.
From behind the glass.
Yeah, like what am I
in the
doing?
lockbox.
Yeah, what?
I know.
It's just garbage. Let's get some real tests. I was stacking pretty hard at one point.
Yeah.
I was stacking a few things. It was getting crazy, but God checked me.
Yeah.
Put the brakes on it.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with doing that.
Hey,
To
each his own.
To each his own, exactly.
Each his own.
Or her own.
Or her own. Yeah.
You do what you want to do.
Yeah. But for me, it was for where I was at, it was a very inappropriate choice to make in my life, and I don't think it was the best, and I don't think hiding these things from my spouse, and again, like living like a double life with it, they were not good decisions, and they weren't the healthiest for my body.
Sure.
So I just think that it was definitely off brand completely of what I represent, who I represent, where my life was headed. It just was something that I had to, put the brakes on.
But you got caught up in how you felt and how you looked.
Yeah, man.
And as a man,
Yeah.
And
I still, I'm still into it. I mean, it's, I give fitness the time that I can in my life with running business and with children. I still make it happen. I feel like I still need to be attractive to my wife. I want to be somebody that my kids are proud of. I think that fitness and health is a huge thing. I think all the more so just making sure that I'm healthy, inside, and out, is a big deal.
You're just not going to take it to the extremes that you used to.
No. Taking that, that extremist and putting it in the right things,
Yes.
Consistently,
Let's talk about barbering.
Man.
You said you went to barber school. Yeah. That's where you met your now wife, right?
Yeah, man.
So, obviously you have a business now. What led you to that point? I'm guessing did you get out of barber school and start your own business?
No, heck no.
What was the stepping stones to get there?
No. Man, took my test and immediately, I was on the grind. Went to the first barbershop that I worked at was Success Barbershop, and it was in Monroeville Mall. Always shout out to Chuck. Gave me a chance. I mean, stand-up dude, looked out for me. I mean, I was all of 20 at the time. Didn't have a license. I was just a young man, had my license, just trying to make better life for myself. And he gave me the last and only chair he had. I mean, there was even times where, he didn't even barely know me. He was letting me take his Range Rover to go pick up supplies, and he just always looked out, man. This dude just did nothing but looked out. Gave me that first opportunity at the first barbershop that I worked at, and it was just it was too good to be true there, man. The barbershop in the mall. At this time, it was like 2010, Monroeville Mall. Monroeville was popping
bumping
at that time, man.
Yes, it was.
And so it just made sense, And I remember, I think at this time, me and my wife now, we were just friends at the time, and I bounced the idea off of her, like, you think I should work there? She was even then like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. And working there almost intimidated my vision for my barbershop because there was just so much traffic. And I felt like if I can't do it to this level, I'm comfortable here. I'm making money here. You know, I was like, why would I leave? Why would I go and do this? And this was a little bit before social media was real big, you know, and it was there. Instagram was, I think it was like just photos at the time. So was Facebook. I think Vine was like the only thing you could really get videos with. But I think when I started using or participating in the social media platforms, I started seeing other barbershops that weren't necessarily connected to a mall, that were standalone shops that were they looked amazing and they were popping. And so it reawakened my vision for the barbershop. I'm like, okay, so it can be done.
Yeah.
But I was just intimidated to say, like, and comfortable at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I was cutting a lot of hair. I was there from the time it opened up to the time it left. My wife, she had to convince me, like, back when we was friends, like, you need to take a day off. Like, I was there Sunday to Saturday, 9 to 10,
Grinding.
eyes red,
Wow.
you know, and I grinded. I was there. That was all I had to do at the time. And I think as my years went on there, things just started to make sense. You know, I didn't have like business knowledge, not that intelligent with business. It just seemed like, okay, well, there was a place that I drove past, the barbershop that we own now, and there was a light on, and I would drive past it, like, you know, often. And I just stopped up there and I was just looking around. It was already set up to, like, you know, look like it would have been an easy setup. Because it was a salon before. It was a nail spa. It was all kinds of things. And I looked around the street, the traffic, and I started, you know, putting two and two together. I'm like, well, you know, with the rent that I'm paying here at the barbershop that I was working at, if, you know, I'm paying like $1,100 a month. It's like, I mean, how much could rent be here? It couldn't be like, you know, too much more than that. I mean, that's a big ticket. $1,100 a month for rent in 2010, or no, not at this point. It was like 2014. I'm like, I'm sure they could probably meet me somewhere around there. And, you know, I called the guy and go up there, feeling like I needed to be suit and tied up, and get to talk to the owner, and they're like, yeah, you know, $1,800, and, you know, you're good to go. And I was just like, you know, I felt like, okay, with the rent that I make and then a little bit extra, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I just felt like it was like, made sense. You know, I felt like I could do that, you know, and then I just felt like, hey, I don't need this to be super pretty. All I need is my clippers, me, some lights, chair, and a station.
Yeah.
You know, oh man, I wish I could send you pictures so you could upload what it looked like. It was just real plain.
You have them?
Oh yeah.
Send them to me.
Oh, I got them. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so plain. Had a futon. Where that couch is,
Yeah.
there was a futon. Big Lots. And a Big Lots speaker in the front, Bluetooth. That actually just went the other day. I literally just threw that thing away.
Was
I used it
was
for
it
everything.
sad?
It's a little sad. I had a little moment there because I
Little-
plugged it in to go move some dirt from the front yard to the back, thinking I was going to jam on it, and I was getting nothing. And I'm like, man,
Sentimental Bluetooth speaker.
man, that thing was here since 2014.
Jeez.
Man,
So you went from, it was just you.
just me and my good old man 50,
Okay.
Daryl Pinkett, DP. I mean, people gonna watch that. I feel like they're gonna love that. They're gonna love that.
So did all the clients that you had follow you?
A good bit. You know, that was a rude awakening. I expected a lot more of my clients to follow me. Just being right up the street, you know, I was probably only a block away from the
Yeah,
mall.
yeah.
You know, so that was another thing. It made sense to me.
It's not like you're to the other side of town.
No, I was like that was another thing that helped make my decision. I'm like, I'm right around the corner, you know. Good bit, decent bit came, you know, and it was cool. I mean, it definitely took a dip, especially not having a website. You know, I don't need a website. You know, I came from the barber culture where it was about word of
Word of
mouth and it
mouth.
was about passing out cards. You get out there, you pass out cards, you do good cuts, people see it, they talk. You know, so having internet or not internet, but a website, social media, that was like, kind of just have this like, I don't need all that, you know. And I think that there are people that kind of carry that mindset. It's just limiting, you know. And it's a blessing how God has helped both me and my wife come up and how we think about business because we definitely started way down here, just real like good enough, subpar. But then I am a person that, you know, I want better. And I'll change the things. You know,
Yeah.
you presented me some better ways, I'll definitely shift for sure. But I wanted better, you know, and I think that I started off a certain way and I started raising the standard year after year. And the more my life changed, the more that I kept on leaning into how God would want me to do business because I feel like it wouldn't be there without Him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why am I, you know, doing this any other way, you know, besides that influence, you know? And I think the more that we moved into, and what I mean by having it influenced by God would be, you know, not in this religious sense where you think it's just like, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna have like praise and worship music running on in there, but in a sense that where God is excellent, you
Yeah.
know, God is a God of things being decent and in order, you know, from your inner workings to how you decorate, how you keep things clean, how you treat people, how you treat your barbers, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was those things. That's God influenced, you know, and the more that we leaned into that, like just thinking about, you know, being more selfless, you know, and setting ourselves apart in a way that would show we're here for people. We prioritize people, and we got to take care of the people that's around us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was those things that would make other ideas compound. Well, since you're doing that, well, you probably want to start doing this, and then since you're doing that, well, you need to add this in there. You know, and it just brings things to you having an environment that people want. I don't
Yeah.
care what walk of life or what belief system you have.
Yeah.
You just want to be in this environment, you know, because you just notice there's a difference compared to other places. You know, not that other places don't have that, but especially with the barber shop, there's a common environment that's just not welcoming to all people,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. I've been to different barbershops and they all have their own vibe. They're all very different.
Yeah.
But yours, so I want to talk about me real quick,
Yeah.
but this is about you indirectly and what your barbershop means to me. And that sounds corny, but hear me out. So I went to Style and Grace to get a haircut. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And I sat down in Chops' chair.
Oh, man.
I had
Oh,
been
shop.
all over the place, different salons, different barbers. You know, my ex's family had their own salon up the road. So I had very thinning, receding hair. I was very, very self-conscious about my hair. And I only trusted certain people to cut it because they were going to see the raw me,
Yeah.
not done up, not hidden, my real balding head of hair.
Yeah.
And it was hard to sit down in a chair and have someone see that side of me. So I went to Chops, sat down on his chair, took my hat off because I always wore a hat. And I was like, man, what can you do for me to make it look like I'm not losing my hair so much? What kind of cut can you give that might hide it? And he looked at me. He's like, shave it off, man.
Of course, Chops would say.
Chops would say that because he's bald. He had shaved his head.
Easy fix.
And I had thought about it occasionally. Maybe I should just shave my head. But that's frightening to do. That's a big step.
And I can imagine.
You can't relate. Lucky bastard. So I'm like, just do it. But I don't want to see it until it's done. I don't want to see the process. So he spun me around. He got his clippers out. Then he got his rotary thing out to get it even closer.
Okay, the shaver.
Or the it wasn't a rotary, but it was
like a little shaver.
Yeah, like you'd shave your
your
neck.
Man.
I'm like, all right, it's gone.
This is clean.
He spun me around. And at first I hated it. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? But I instantly felt free. Like I don't have to hide anymore.
That's dope.
So I put my hat back on. On my way home, I think I stopped to get an oil change or something, and I recorded a video. I had my hat on in the video. I said, I have big news. I took my hat off. And I was like choking back tears making this video.
I feel like, did you post that?
I did.
I feel like I remember seeing it.
I did. So I got home, had my hat on. Maria's, I think she was up in bed taking a nap or whatever. And she knew I had gone to get a haircut. So I plopped down in bed. She's like, how'd your hair turn out? I just made a face, and she took my hat off. And she was like shocked. Not like bad shocked, but she just didn't expect to see what she saw.
Yeah.
And I took that expression as she hates it because I was already self-conscious about it. But from that point forward, I felt a release, a confidence I never had before. I spent almost every waking moment before that worrying about if someone could tell I was losing my hair. And a lot of people don't know, but I would hide it with hair fibers. I had a subscription with Amazon for every other week shipment of those hair fibers.
Yeah.
I could not live without them.
Yeah.
It would take me probably 10 minutes every morning to do my hair to get it to the point where you couldn't tell. So I gave myself a fake hairline during my receding parts. I'd cover my crown. I'd hairspray it in place and make sure I didn't get caught in the rain, didn't go in the swimming pool, didn't put a ball cap on, then take it off. Because if I did any of those, I'd be exposed.
Right.
My cover's blown.
Right.
Very few people ever saw me in my natural state. It took a lot of trust for that. So, anyways, shaved my head at your place. And very recently, yesterday, I came back for a completely different procedure. So you took all my hair and then now you're giving it back.
We can't be taking stuff without giving back something, man.
And I'm going to overlay some footage of this. But I went for your SMP, Scalp Micropigmentation.
Say it.
And it is essentially a tattoo on your scalp that simulates hair follicles. And thank goodness for social media, because you post a lot of it. And that's what caught my eye. I'd seen some of the before and afters of some of the clients you did. And admittedly, you do a lot of black men. And the style that you put on black men is a different style than a white man would have.
Right.
You know, with the hard edges and the hard lines. I can't pull that off. I don't think.
You can pull it off.
But I didn't want that. And that I was kind of like, that's not for me. Until I saw you did a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Because we have a similar look. We had a similar receding head. And I saw what you did for him. And I'm just like, I got to do this. Not that I'm not okay being completely bald to the skin. Because it's now my look. It's my brand. It's just who I am.
Right.
But I'm like, you know what? It's time to do something big for me.
I can't stop looking at it. They're gonna keep
And
catching.
I don't know if you could see it. Actually, yeah, you can see it on camera. So
See that?
maybe you guys even noticed this before I pointed it out, but I actually have hair again, and
It's his.
it's crazy. And that's only session 1. You do 3 sessions. My second session's scheduled for about 2 weeks, and that's where things get real. And I'm pumped. And waiting for it is the hardest part, as you said,
Yeah,
and as our
everybody's-
mutual friend said. He said that that's the hardest part is waiting.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you for you gave me confidence I never had before by taking all my hair, and now you've given me, trying not to get emotional here, but you've given me a newfound confidence that I didn't think I could ever have. I didn't want hair transplants because those are botched a lot, and it's very expensive and very invasive. So this is what I needed.
Yeah. Wow.
So thank you.
Wow. I think it's really humbling, first of all, you saying that. I'm a very hard critic of myself. So I think you expressing that is definitely humbling and touching. I thank you for that. And it's confirming that, what hair loss means to everybody is different.
If I could interject there, I started losing my hair when I was probably 25. As a man, men have full, rich heads of hair.
Yeah.
The best looking men on the planet have nice hair. There's very few bald men that are viewed as super attractive. The Rock.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, stereotypically, a real man has a nice full hard hairline. Like, and when I started losing my hair, I started losing a lot of confidence, and it hurt. Like, and I knew I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I can't reverse it. My dad, he's got thin hair, and they say what side it comes from. It didn't matter. It was going, and there was nothing I could do about it. And then I did everything I could in my power to hide it because I don't know. I needed it to feel confident.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think that because, like, I can empathize, I can get into somebody's situation, because I think that even though hair loss might not be what I struggle with, I think that struggling to not be what the vision that you have for yourself as a man is universal. Whether that be, I'm unable to look a certain way, with muscles, or, I'm not 6 foot something.
yeah,
Like,
you're right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everybody has, as a man, some vision of what manhood looks like, and I do think that I would probably be very devastated if I could imagine, losing my hair, even though I don't know why. I'd be like, wear a hat all the time, even with the head.
Yeah,
It's
you
kind
do.
of like a spit in the face if you, which I'm going to change that. I'm going to start, in this industry, I'll start wearing my hair out. But it's confirming that, again, people have such a different feeling and acceptance with hair loss. And some people, I mean, from what they're used to doing, they could care less. Other people, it's a big deal. It means something to them. And in your case, it pokes out what it looks like as the perfect man.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful that this is a skill that, in something else that my wife has encouraged me to learn and to embark on this journey. And the more that I've learned it and got into it, I've gained such a bigger respect for the industry. I'm gaining a bigger sense of purpose in it, with giving people something that not realizing how much confidence it's giving people, you know. And we say that in the industry, you know, get your confidence back, you know. And it's true, but I do feel it's thrown out there. It's like one of the main slogans,
cliche
you want your
thing.
confidence,
Yeah.
you know, not really knowing where that hits home for a lot of people, you know. And I think even this conversation helps shift that, you know, because I'm becoming more and more on the side of the person with some form of hair loss, whether that be, you know, severe alopecia, you know, cancer, male pattern baldness, women pattern baldness. There's so many different things and events that cause, I mean, scarring, you know, from an accident or surgery, or even from people getting a certain hair transplant that will create the scarring. Just these things that will snatch somebody's self-confidence. And to be a part of that, to see the reactions that people have, you know, to hear this, it's humbling, and it makes me want to do it even more, you know.
You're changing lives, man.
And I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I do love it. You know, it gives me like a great sense of purpose, you know, and I feel like I'm doing something, you know.
You are. Yeah, and I have no shame. Like, this is not my real hair anymore, and I'm okay admitting that. You know, it's fine. Everybody knew I was bald anyway.
But it's like, it's, you know, like you said, you were already okay with what you were doing. And I think, you know, I've talked to other people, like, you know, they thought that it would add a confidence, but they just didn't even really realize it until they got it done. And, you know, they look in the mirror now. And I think that just being able to, you know, look at a hairline for a lot of people is a big deal. You know, whether that be a soft hairline or a pronounced one, to have what you just last week didn't have, or even in your case yesterday, it just does something. And I think that for a lot of people, taking away the maintenance, you know, the thought of, oh, what am I gonna do? You know, and there's even some people now. I mean, you know, I'm dealing with people who, just for the sake of just missing a little bit of a hairline, cutting it bald. You know, they don't want to think about that. They don't want to use the hair fibers. They're just like, you know, to them, it's not worth, you know, pushing their line back. It's just, it causes a frustration for people on their day to day, that there's a resource now, you know, to help that, you know. And I'm glad to be able to have obtained the skill to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a passion of mine now.
Well, I can tell. So if you're a man and you're losing your hair, doesn't matter what age you are, because hair loss doesn't care what age you are. I was in my mid-20s. But if you want to get some confidence back, and I'm not just saying this, I was brought to tears when I saw what I looked like when he was done with his procedure. Look him up, guys. Style and Grace. I'm going to link everything. SMP. It has changed my life, and I'm only in phase 1 of 3.
Phase 1. And it just gets better.
And like I just visited family a few hours ago, literally a few hours before we're sitting right now. And I didn't say anything to any of them. But my brother-in-law is looking at me, and someone else was like, "You look different, but you look tanner." Like, they couldn't figure it out, because it is subtle right now. And then once I pointed it out to my brother-in-law is losing his hair bad. Sorry, Ed, but he's Norwall 7, like
Wood.
Norwood. Norwall. What's a Norwall?
Hashtag Norwall. We changed it.
Norwood.
Norwall.
But yeah, he only has it on the sides. That's all he has left.
Okay. Full bald on the top.
Yep. So when I confessed that I had it done yesterday, Ed is a simple man. I don't say he's hard to impress, but he's not superly easily excitable.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh my God, that looks amazing." And he's like all up on it.
That's dope.
And then he was like, "I'm jealous of your head."
That's dope.
But yeah, so thank you.
That. And you're welcome, man. You're welcome. And I think that being able to do it in a way that is undetectable just to the naked eye, that's what we want to pull off, you know. And I think that anybody that is interested in it, just know that, you know, the results are going to be, they vary from person to person, you know. And even with Shaun's, it's tailor made to his look, from the shape of his hairline to how dense we're going, you know, on his crown, where we're blending it into. It's not a one size fits all situation. And hey, you know what? And I don't even think, you know, honestly, it might not be the best decision for everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you know, it's something that you have to feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know,
It takes a lot of trust to sit in that chair and have you tattoo my head.
how did it feel? Tell me.
What?
Don't scare anybody.
Look, you're having a needle poking your scalp thousands of times.
Do you have tattoos?
I have none.
Okay.
That was my first. Why not make your head the first experience of a tattoo, right? Why not? It doesn't feel good. So, here, if I had to describe it, it's, you know, it's like 4 hours.
Would you tell me it's it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable.
Yeah, you're like pain 1 to 10. I was just like, let's just say it's not comfortable.
Not comfortable. I like that. It was fun.
So, I mean, at first it was tolerable. It's the third and the fourth hour for that first session where your skin's just so irritated. And the needling and the wiping and the needling and the wiping, it felt like a bad sunburn getting scratched. It just gets really sensitive.
Yeah,
That's all.
I had similar experiences with tattoos. Yeah. And again, everybody's tolerance.
Sure.
It's gonna be.
What are you saying?
Everybody's
wimp?
tolerance is gonna be no. But listen, not by any means. You took it. You didn't complain. You sat there.
I did. I took
You know,
one break
not
that whole
at
time.
all, you know, and he only told me because I asked, not because he offered. So there that is. Not a wimp by any means.
And I'm definitely going back for session 2 and 3.
Man,
So it wasn't that bad.
Let's go.
But
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, anyways, moving on, enough about me. Tell me about your marriage.
Man, my marriage, it's wonderful. It is. I'm not just saying it. And I think what initially came to my mind is that it's not all the beautiful parts that I'm calling wonderful. It's the fact that over the years she has brought with what I didn't have growing up is the communication, and bringing tough conversations to me is not the easiest thing, but I'm all for change. And I think her forcing tough conversations on me has definitely made me better selfishly. You know, I'm like thankful.
So you don't like confrontation, or you don't like making hard decisions, or none of the
I can
above?
make hard decisions. I think I can make hard decisions, but with confrontation, I'm either up here or I'm just not going to do it at all. It's been hard for me to find a middle ground. And I think that level of communication, learning how to be emotionally mature and have a conversation that's not just about easy things.
Yeah.
You know, that just
Things you want to talk about.
right. And you need to be a person that's able to not look at things through emotional lenses all the time, that are tougher conversations that make you uncomfortable, that make you think, they challenge you, you know, to talk about your emotions, which I'm not somebody that easily does that, you know, or I kind of pick and choose who, when, where I want to, you know, talk about these things. But I think that she has helped me to be able to not look at that as a big deal, you know, and be a lot freer to, and it doesn't hurt, you know, to talk about how I'm feeling about things, and creating safe spaces for me to feel like I can do that, you know. And I'm getting better. She's doing better and better at that, but that came through communicating. You know, I think that safe spaces for me are important, you know, because I think that was a big problem in my life, you know, not feeling like being able to talk about my feelings or express is not welcome. So then you shove it and you do what you do. You know,
And then
and
you
those,
explode eventually.
yeah, well, those, or they turn into really weird behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and they've caused bad times in my marriage. You know, but again, it's a wonderful marriage because we don't just have this fake facade of happiness and nice Facebook posts. Like, it gets ugly at our house, but it gets ugly with purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets,
I like that.
Yeah, like
I
it
like
ain't just
that.
like senseless
It's
ugliness.
passionate
Right.
fighting.
You know,
Like, yeah.
and we, you know, talk how we talk to each other, and we apologize,
Yeah.
and we're committed to getting better with it.
Good.
You know, we're both committed to getting better. And I think that that's what makes our marriage work good, is that we're both people that will change. I might take a little longer, though. I'm a little longer. She says making me decisions are like going through Congress, you know, like she's like, I'm like Congress before, you know, any real decisions are made through me. You know, she just has to wait, but it's a good one is going to come.
That's so funny.
Yeah, because it might take a little bit, but I'll get convinced.
Does she know about your past?
Oh, yeah.
All of it.
All of it,
Yeah.
man. Oh, yeah. And that's what makes me even more comfortable with her.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I'm definitely, I mean, I won the golden ticket with her because I don't think that my background is, it's not on the best on paper for to be picked. And she's 4 years older than me. She experienced life as an adult more than me. So she had to really see something in me for her to make the decision that she made to be with me, you know. Like, you know, I again, she saw a certain value in me to be able to say I would trust this person, you know, to be my husband.
Because you met when you were what, 20?
Yeah, when I was 20. I got married to her when I was 22.
Wow.
I'm 35.
So you were just coming out of your really dark place.
Hit the ground running, bro. Hit the ground running. You know, and that's what I mean. Like when my mind's made up, I just go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in that. My mind's made up. This is the direction. There's no turning back. And that was I think the force of me and her relationship was built on, you know, just, you know, we both we're going somewhere. Of course, we're attracted to each other, but it's like that's not the only thing that matters here. You know what I mean? We like,
Well, that can go away.
you
too.
know, I mean, listen, bro. We talked. We would sit outside of Starbucks when it was in Miracle Mile and talk till all the lights went out in the parking lot. Just talking,
Different connection.
just busting it up. It just, you know, and we built on that, you know, and you just want to spend time with that person, you know. But I just, where she was coming from with things and where I was coming from with things, it was just sparks, you know. And it just, I had no doubt in my mind that she was my wife. Or I wouldn't have expressed my feeling about our friendship had I not thought truly that she was going to be my wife, you know. And so it came out how I was feeling over time, and man, you know, almost 13 years later,
And 3 kids.
and three little boys,
How old are they?
9, 6, and 1. Soon about to be 10, 7, and then still 1. But
What did you call me when you found out I had a 19-year-old? You're like, you old head.
Yeah, I was what's that? I heard you old head. You are, man.
My son just did his taxes today.
Yeah, you're there, bro.
That's when you know.
Your old head status.
Yes.
I'm gonna start calling you my old head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this old head's getting some fresh.
Man, you're doing your thing, man.
That does really look really good on camera, though. I'm sorry, but look at it.
Ooh,
Like,
looks like you buzzed your hair.
yeah, looks like I just got out of the army.
I can't wait until that next layer gets on.
Oh, I can't either.
It's that next layer.
I cannot wait
to just add some more dimension to it.
My brother-in-law's like, I think it looks good just how it is. I'm like, no, 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 no.
We're gonna go
Just
the whole
let it
way.
happen.
We're gonna go the whole way with it. Whole way.
All right, brother, you know what time it is. We're going to arm wrestle.
We arm wrestle.
Yeah.
We do this with everybody.
Yes, sir. Men and women.
So I really gotta turn up here, huh?
Yeah. So.
Am I really supposed to turn up?
Yes. I've never lost. I want to lose. Hey, that's not fair.
I'm gonna dig down into my Amos Glenn. It's for anybody that knows Amos Glenn. You will. Dig down into my inner Amos Glenn.
I'm actually kind of nervous about this.
Why?
I've seen your pipes.
It ain't got nothing to do with that, man.
It's the fight and the dog.
Let's go.
It's all technique. All right.
You do this though.
I'm gonna ask you a question as we do this, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we gonna get a 1, 2, 3?
You start when you feel like you're ready.
Okay. Let's go.
If you could say something to childhood Drew, what would you say? It's a stalemate. What would you tell? What would you tell childhood Drew today?
I would say, you better win this arm wrestle.
Come on, answer the question.
I would say, just keep.
Okay.
What? Why are we done? We gotta keep going.
What would you say?
Just be wise, man.
Be
Be
wise.
wise. Trust. What you
We're gonna be here all night.
Trust what you're saying, bro. Never give up. Never give in. Never give up.
We're gonna break the table. No, seriously. Let's. Oh my god, that was intense.
Oh, that was great. This is good. I can't wait to watch this.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's gonna make the teaser.
oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'm out of breath.
That was.
Take my aminos.
I'm
Well-
exhausted.
Project 1 just made me stalemate with my man. You know?
What if he wouldn't have taken it?
See,
I should have drank more.
that's the question I had. If I wouldn't have taken Project 1, I could have been bad.
Dude, that was a good fight.
Yeah, my bicep is.
I'm tight.
My question has that happened before?
No.
Never.
So all of the matches, it's obvious I could win,
But you let up.
but we just truce. Kind of like what we did.
Did you do that to me?
No. No, I was trying, man.
Okay. All right.
That was a fight.
We have to start having cameras set up outside, like a lockup or something. Like, you know what? Okay, you stalemate here.
We're going outside
Next phase.
to the octagon.
Oh man, oh, that was great.
That was good. But so yeah, I almost forgot the question I asked you.
The blood has to go back
My gosh.
through the body.
So you would tell your childhood
Yeah, man.
version of you to be
Be
wise.
wise. Yeah, be wise and embrace that wisdom that your father is putting into you. Take that, guard it, live on it, you know, because it was valuable, you know, and I'm living on it now. And I can only imagine if I'd have implemented it years ago, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I'm like speechless from what you told me today. Like, and I know there's more,
Yeah, man.
but
I need to I need to have those conversations, you know.
yeah,
I think the details don't really matter, you know. I mean, yeah, I was doing bad things, but the essence of it is what it's done and what it's brought me to, you know,
right.
how it shaped me, you know, the battles that I was dealing with, that, you know, you said with the time that you cut your hair off, that feeling of freedom. There was a feeling of freedom that occurred, that I didn't have to act like something that I wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I get to be who I'm created to be. I get to be the person, the genuine, loving, caring, funny, not hard,
Yeah.
you know, person that I am. Creative, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what matters, you know, what it was versus, you know, what it is now. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's been quite the honor to have you here, man.
Thank you.
And I know you helped at least one person with your story, at least one person. And that's why you're sitting here right now. And so someone can hear this story that might be going through some of the darkest times of their life potentially, and hear that there's a way out. There is a light, and you found it. And look at you now.
Yeah, man.
Don't give up.
Work in progress, though, man.
Yeah.
It's all still, it's not complete, man. It's being complete.
Never complete.
Yeah, it's not complete.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
You have any questions for me before we close out?
Man, no, you nailed it, man. I just thank you for even thinking of me to come on here. That's an honor, you know, just for seeing something of value to be brought to your home, to your podcast, man. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, man.
Love you, bro.
Love you, man.
And I will see you on the next episode of Barbells and Bourbon. Peace.
Why'd you make me get emotional like that, man?